Red Sox GM Brian O'Halloran joins us on High Heat on this Friday. Brian, thanks for the time. I want to start you with this because your team got off to kind of a clunky offensive start. But you look at the names on the roster, you look at the names on the scorecard, and none of us thought that was going to last very long. For you as an executive, what's the timeline there between patience and action when you wait for a team to heat up?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to err on the side of patience. We felt we had a good offense, a very good offense coming into the season, and just, we didn't get out of the gate, and it just wasn't happening with it. We were struggling offensively. Usually that sort of rights itself and water finds its level, so to speak. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you don't have anxiety over it and that you don't, start to question some things, the performances just aren't coming. But we had faith and we believe in this group and they've performed really, really well over the last few weeks, and I think our offense is showing what it's capable of.
Yeah, we all love watching that lineup. I mean, 3 of the top 8 qualified hitters for an American League batting title are your guys. No doubt they can move runners and put runs on the board. But I want to ask you about your pitching staff as well and hit you with the requisite Chris Sale and when and how question for your ace.
Yeah, Chris is doing well. He's down in Fort Myers, and he's getting ready to throw to hitters. He's been throwing sides now for a while. Should be throwing to hitters soon. So there's a few steps along the way that need to happen, but he's on track here, and we're looking forward to getting him back. And we all know what he's capable of when healthy.
I think a lot of casual fans, Brian, who aren't intimately familiar with your roster in the offseason, they might have kvetched over the loss of Eduardo Rodriguez. They might have wrung their hands even further when Sale's health status was put up in the air. But for people that do know your roster, you've got these secret weapons, these guys like Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitlock, who are electric. What's the long-term kind of fit for them? Are they starters down the road, or do you like them as super utility arms?
Yeah, I mean, number one, they're both really good pitchers. So we love having them, whatever role they're in. Right now, Whitlock's in the rotation. Houck is pitching out of the bullpen, but has also successfully pitched out of the rotation as a starter, both this year and in previous years. We think they're both capable of starting. Time will tell what the ultimate roles are, but certainly both capable of starting. Whitlock's doing a nice job in that role now, and Houck has shown he can do it. So we're just glad to have them on our side. And generally speaking, the more innings they can pitch and the more high leverage innings that they can pitch, the better for the Red Sox.
The thought of poaching Garrett Whitlock from the Yankees is just something that tickles the soul of Red Sox fans all over the world. Do you get calls on those guys? We're approaching the deadline. I'm sure there's casual phone calls happening to see who's available. Does anybody ever bring up those names with you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that lots of names get brought up in casual trade conversations, the type of which you're talking about, that are starting now. And here we are in early to mid June, and so those conversations are beginning to happen. I would say we get asked about a lot of people on our roster, but ultimately, we're going to be looking to continue playing well and hopefully improve our team as we go along.
There is a surplus that you've established very smartly with your roster, with your 40-man, even beyond that. And one of the places that there's a perceived amount of depth is at first base. You've got Bobby Dahlbeck, for whom there is still limitless potential, and Tristan Casas in the minors. Talk about Casas, his development, and potential timeline for him.
Yeah, Tristan's an outstanding young player, and he's currently injured with a sprained ankle, so he's out for a little bit. But was having a good start to his season and continued development. Everybody saw what he did last year. Had a really interesting year, including playing in the Olympics, and then in the fall league. So in addition to performing really well in Double-A. So Tristan's the guy that we believe will be a really good player for the Boston Red Sox for a long time. Number one is get him back healthy here, hopefully fairly soon, and get him back in AAA to continue his development and see where that takes us.
So I got to ask you this, because I was watching the game last night on Nesson, and I couldn't get enough of Tony Maserati saying the name Jonathan Arauz in his Boston accent. It was wonderful. When the team's on the road, do you keep up by watching the telecast? Do you listen to the radio? Are you looking at data live? How do you watch the team when they're away?
Yeah, some of it depends on whether my kids are in bed or not, and trying to keep them from distracting, because I like to do multiple things. I like to watch the game on TV, and then have my computer on to look things up and have other ways to experience the game. But sometimes I have the sound on and listen to our broadcast. Sometimes I like to listen to the away broadcast. No offense, Nesson, Tony, or anybody else. But sometimes you might learn something from listening to the away broadcast. So yeah, a few different ways of doing it, but certainly watching intently.
I don't think any offense is taken there. That's just doing your prep. That's just being thorough. Hey, well, last question for you, and this might be a more appropriate question for your ticket sales department or your social media people, but the Celtics doing what they're doing, does that take eyeballs and rear ends away from your seats, or is what's good for Boston sports good for the Red Sox?
Well, I'm biased here because I grew up in Boston. I grew up a big Celtics fan in the Bird, Mikhail Parrish era. So I'm going to go with the latter. And I honestly believe that it's good. It's certainly good for Boston. It's good for Boston sports. Our players love, watching the other teams do well. We certainly all do. I'm a fan of the other Boston teams, and so it's just exciting. There's a good buzz in the air when any of the other teams are doing well, and in the postseason, the playoffs, and certainly in the finals, like the Celtics are now. So it's exciting for Boston. I think it only helps the environment.
Brian, we appreciate the visit, man. Congrats on the Sox heating up, and best of luck the rest of the way. Thanks for the time.
All right, Matt. Thanks a lot. Take care.